Commander Jake Morrison pressed his face against the cold metal of the viewing window. Outside in the black space, hundreds of alien ships surrounded his vessel. Their lights blinked in patterns he could not understand. His ship, the Terra Nova, looked tiny compared to the massive alien fleet. Jake had been exploring space for 3 years now. He thought humans were new to the galaxy. He believed they were just meeting other space travelers for the first time. But something felt wrong about this meeting. The aliens seemed nervous around humans. They acted like they knew something important that humans did not know. Dr. Lisa Chang walked up behind Jake. She held a small computer pad in her hands. Her face looked worried. Lisa was the smartest person on the ship when it came to studying aliens. She could speak 5 different alien languages and understand their cultures better than anyone else. "Jake, we need to talk," Lisa said in a quiet voice. "I found something bad. Really bad." Jake turned away from the window. The alien ship still floated outside, waiting. "What did you find?" Lisa looked around the room to make sure no one else could hear them. "I was reading some alien messages that we picked up from a trading post. The messages were not meant for us to see. They talked about humans in a strange way." She showed Jake her computer pad. On the screen were words written in an alien language. Below the alien words were English translations that Lisa had made. "Look at this line." Lisa pointed to the screen. "It says the hidden warriors of the third rock. That means Earth, Jake. Earth is the third planet from our sun." Jake read the words on the screen. His heart started beating faster. "What else does it say?" "It gets worse," Lisa said. She moved her finger to another line of text. This part says, "The species that must never know." They are talking about us, Jake. They are talking about humans. Jake felt cold inside his chest. "Never know what?" Lisa took a deep breath. "I think they have been hiding us, Jake. I think they know about Earth, but they don't want us to know about them. At least not the real them." Jake grabbed Lisa's arm. "Show me everything." Lisa led Jake to her small office near the back of the ship. The walls were covered with papers and computer screens. She had been working on this mystery for days without telling anyone. "I started noticing things 3 weeks ago," Lisa said as she sat down at her desk. "Remember when we met the Andromedans? They seemed afraid of us, not just careful or polite. Actually afraid," Jake remembered. The Andromedans were tall blue, creatures with 4 arms. They were very advanced and had amazing technology. But when humans came to visit their planet, the Andromedans acted strange. They would not stay alone with any human. They always traveled in groups of 3 or more when humans were around. "Then I noticed the same thing with the Centaurians and the Vega people," Lisa continued. "They all act the same way around us, like we are dangerous animals that might attack them at any moment." Lisa pulled up more files on her computer. "So I started studying their star maps. Look at this." She showed Jake a map of local space. It showed the locations of many star systems, but something was missing. "Where is Earth?" Jake asked. "Exactly," Lisa said. "Earth is not on any of their maps. Our whole solar system is missing. But look at this." She opened another file. This one showed what looked like the same map, but with additional information written in small text next to some of the star systems. "I found this in a restricted file from the Andromedan database. It took me 2 days to break their security codes. Look what it says next to our solar system." Jake read the text. It said, "Quarantine zone, dangerous radiation, no life forms present." "That's a lie," Jake said. "Our sun is perfectly normal, and there are over 8 billion humans living on Earth." "It gets worse," Lisa said. She opened more files. "I found communication records going back 200 years. Jake, they have been watching us for a very long time. They know everything about us, our history, our wars, our technology, everything." Jake sat down hard in a chair. His mind was trying to process what Lisa was telling him. Why would they hide us? Lisa opened one more file. This one was different from the others. It looked like a scientific report with charts and graphs. This is a psychological study of human behavior, Lisa said. They have been studying us like we study animals in a zoo. Look at some of their conclusions. Jake read the report. The words made him feel sick. The aliens described humans as extremely aggressive, unpredictable in combat situations, and capable of rapid adaptation under pressure. One section was titled Threat Assessment and was marked with red symbols that clearly meant danger. They think we are monsters, Jake said quietly. No, Lisa said. They think we are predators. Look at this part of the report. She pointed to a section that compared humans to other species in the galaxy. The report said that most alien species had evolved from prey animals. They were naturally peaceful and avoided conflict. Humans were different. Humans had evolved as hunters. The report called humans apex predators with advanced tool-making abilities. Jake stood up and walked to the small window in Lisa's office. Outside, he could see the alien ships still surrounding them. Now he understood why there were so many ships. They were not there to welcome humans to the galaxy. They were there to watch humans and make sure they did not cause trouble. How many species are really out there? Jake asked. Lisa looked at another file. From what I can tell, there are thousands of them. The 3 species we have met are just the ones they chose to make contact with us. They picked the most peaceful, non-threatening species to interact with humans. And the others? The others are afraid of us, Lisa said. According to these files, there is something called the Galactic Council. It has representatives from dozens of major species. They made the decision to hide Earth and monitor us in secret. Jake felt anger building inside him. Humans had spent 3 years thinking they were exploring a mostly empty galaxy. They thought they were making friends with a few alien neighbors. But the truth was that they were surrounded by thousands of advanced civilizations that saw them as a threat. We have to tell Captain Stevens, Jake said. Lisa nodded. But Jake, think about what this means. If they have been hiding us for 200 years, and they have this much technology, what happens when they find out we know the truth? Jake looked out at the alien ships again. There were more now than there had been an hour ago. It was almost like they knew that humans were starting to figure things out. I don't know, Jake said. But we can't pretend we don't know. The truth is already out there. We just have to decide what to do with it. Captain Roy Stevens called an emergency meeting as soon as Jake and Lisa showed him the files. The main conference room filled with the Terra Nova's senior officers. Everyone looked confused and worried. They had no idea why they were being called together so suddenly. Roy stood at the head of the long metal table. His face was serious. He had been a ship captain for 15 years, but he had never dealt with anything like this before. What I'm about to tell you will change everything we thought we knew about our place in the galaxy, Roy said. He looked around the room at his crew. Dr. Chang has discovered that we have been lied to since the day we first met alien life. Lisa stood up and activated the large screen on the wall. The first image showed a star map with Earth's location clearly marked, but in the corner was another version of the same map. This one showed empty space where Earth should be. For the past 3 years, we believed we were new to galactic society, Lisa said. We thought we were just meeting our first alien neighbors. But that was all a lie. Lieutenant Sam Parker raised his hand. Sam was young and had joined the crew only 6 months ago. What kind of lie? The kind where an entire galactic civilization has been watching us for 2 centuries while pretending we don't exist, Jake said from his seat near the window. Lisa clicked to the next image. It showed communication logs from alien ships. The text was translated into English. These are messages we intercepted from alien trading posts. They talk about humans, but they call us the hidden species and the ones who must not know. Commander Helen Brooks leaned forward in her chair. Helen was in charge of diplomatic relations with alien species. She had personally led the first meetings with the Andromedans. Are you saying they planned those meetings? That it wasn't just a coincidence we met them? Exactly, Lisa said. The 3 species we have contact with were chosen specifically because they are peaceful and easy to control. The Andromedans, Centaurians, and Vega Collective are all what the real galactic powers consider safe species to interact with humans. Dr. Peter Collins had been quiet during the meeting, but now he spoke up. Peter studied alien cultures and had noticed strange things during their diplomatic missions. That explains the behavioral patterns I've been documenting. Everyone turned to look at Peter. He was a thin man with glasses who usually spent his time reading and taking notes. Every species we've met shows signs of extreme stress when interacting with humans, Peter said. At first, I thought it was just normal nervousness about meeting a new species, but the patterns are too consistent. Peter pulled out his own computer pad and connected it to the main screen. Charts and graphs appeared showing alien behavior during human contact. Look at these stress indicators, Peter said, pointing to red lines on the graphs. Heart rate, breathing patterns, body temperature. Every alien we've met shows the same response when humans are present. It's not nervousness, it's fear. Engineer, Katie Wells spoke up from the back of the room. I might have more evidence of that. Katie was responsible for maintaining the ship's computer systems and communication equipment. Last week when I was repairing the Andromedan communication array, I accidentally accessed some of their restricted files. Roy looked at Katie with surprise. What kind of files? Files labeled Human Containment Protocols and Behavioral Assessment. Reports, Katie said. I only saw them for a few seconds before their security systems locked me out, but I managed to copy some of the data. Katie walked to the front of the room and took control of the main screen. New documents appeared, written in both alien text and English translations. These are psychological profiles, Katie said, not just of our crew, but of every human who has ever made contact with alien species. They have detailed reports on our decision-making processes, our problem-solving methods, and our reactions to stress. Jake felt his anger growing as he looked at the files. The aliens had been studying humans like laboratory animals. Every conversation, every diplomatic meeting, every moment of contact had been recorded and analyzed. There's more, Katie continued. I found tactical assessments of human military capabilities. They have detailed information about our weapons, our ships, and our combat strategies. Information that we never shared with them. Lieutenant Commander Ben Davis raised his hand. Ben was in charge of ship security and had military experience before joining the exploration program. How could they know about our military capabilities if we've only been in space for 3 years, Lisa answered. Because they've been watching us from Earth's orbit for over 200 years. They have recorded every war, every battle, every advancement in human military technology. The room fell silent. The crew members looked at each other with shocked expressions. The idea that aliens had been secretly watching Earth for centuries was almost impossible to believe. But why? Asked Dr. Rachel Green, the ship's medical officer. Why would they hide from us for so long? Lisa clicked to a new document on the screen. This one was titled Galactic Integration Scenarios, Human Species. This is a computer simulation, Lisa said. The aliens ran thousands of different scenarios to predict what would happen if humans learned the truth about galactic civilization. The document showed different possible outcomes. In every single scenario, the result was the same. Humans would rapidly expand across the galaxy and become a dominant force within a few generations. They're not just afraid of us, Jake realized. They're afraid of what we might become. Roy studied the simulation results. According to this, they believe humans would disrupt their entire political system. Look at this section, Peter said, pointing to a part of the document. It analyzes the fundamental differences between human psychology and alien psychology. The section explained that most galactic species had evolved from prey animals. They were naturally cooperative and avoided conflict. Their entire civilization was built around consensus and peaceful resolution of disputes. Humans were different. Humans had evolved as predators and pack hunters. The report described humans as having aggressive expansion instincts and natural leadership hierarchies based on competition and merit. They think we're going to conquer them, Helen said quietly. Not conquer, Lisa corrected. Transform. They think human influence will change their entire way of life. And based on these simulations, they're probably right. Sam looked confused. But we're not trying to take over anything. We just want to explore and make friends. That's exactly what scares them, Jake said. We don't even realize how different we are. To us, competition and challenge are normal. To them, it's terrifying. Katie brought up one more file. This is the most important one I found. It's a communication between something called the Galactic Council and the 3 species we've been in contact with. The message was short but clear. It gave specific instructions on how to interact with humans. The aliens were told to limit human contact to safe, controlled situations. They were ordered to never reveal the true size or nature of galactic civilization. Most importantly, they were instructed to monitor human reactions and report any signs that humans were becoming suspicious. We're not explorers making first contact, Roy said grimly. We're prisoners being studied by our guards. The meeting ended with more questions than answers. The crew knew they had uncovered something huge, but they didn't know what to do about it. Outside the conference room windows, the alien ships continued their silent watch. As the officers filed out of the room, Jake stayed behind with Lisa and Roy. The 3 of them stood looking out at the alien fleet surrounding their ship. What happens now? Roy asked. Now we decide, Jake said. Do we pretend we don't know the truth? Or do we find out what else they're hiding from us? Lisa looked at the alien ships with new understanding. Each ship represented a civilization that feared humanity enough to spend centuries hiding from them. But fear could work both ways. The truth has a way of spreading, Lisa said. Once people know they've been lied to, they start asking questions, and humans are very good at finding answers to questions. The news spread through human space faster than anyone expected. Within 2 weeks, every human colony knew the truth about the Galactic Council and the hidden surveillance. People were angry. They felt betrayed and lied to. But more than that, they were curious about what else was out there in the galaxy. Admiral Chris Murphy sat in his office on Mars Station, reading reports from across human territory. Chris was in charge of all human space exploration. He had been a military officer for 20 years before becoming an admiral. Now he faced the biggest decision of his career. Sir, we're getting requests from every colony, said his assistant, Lieutenant Nancy Clark. They all want to know the same thing. What are we going to do about this? Chris looked at the star maps on his wall. For 3 years, humans had been exploring what they thought was mostly empty space. Now they knew they were surrounded by thousands of alien civilizations. The maps showed only a tiny fraction of the real galaxy. Get me Captain Johnson, Chris said, and prepare the long-range ships. We're going to find out what's really out there. Captain Nate Johnson was the best exploration pilot in the human fleet. He had led more first contact missions than anyone else. His ship, the Deep Explorer, was equipped with the most advanced sensors and communication equipment humans had ever built. 3 days later, Nate's ship left human space and headed toward the galactic core. This time, they were not following the safe routes the aliens had shown them. They were going where humans had never gone before. The first surprise came only 6 hours into the journey. Nate's sensors detected a massive structure in space. It was bigger than any human city, floating in the emptiness between stars. Strange energy patterns surrounded it, and ships moved around it like insects around a bright light. What is that thing? Asked Dr. Amy Foster, the mission's diplomatic officer. Amy had studied alien cultures for years, but she had never seen anything like the structure on their screens. I don't know, Nate said. But it's not on any of the maps the aliens gave us. Let's get closer and take a look. As they approached the structure, more details became clear. It was not just one building, but hundreds of them connected together. The structures were made of materials that seemed to bend light around them. Ships from dozens of different species moved in and out of docking ports. It's a space station, said engineer Tony Martinez. But it's huge. There must be millions of people living on that thing. Amy activated the ship's communication systems and sent out a standard greeting message. The response came back immediately, but it was not from any of the 3 species humans had met before. Unknown vessel, identify yourself, came the reply. The voice was translated by the ship's computer, but it sounded different from Andromedan or Centaurian voices. This is Captain Nate Johnson, of the human exploration ship, Deep Explorer. We come in peace and wish to make contact. There was a long pause. Then multiple voices began talking at once on the communication channel. Amy could hear excitement and surprise in their tones, even through the translation. "Did you say human?" one voice asked. "Impossible," said another. "Humans are contained in the restricted zone." "Wait," said a third voice. "Are you really from the third planet of the Sol system?" Nate looked at Amy with surprise. These aliens knew about Earth, but they were not supposed to. "Yes, we are from Earth. Who are you?" "We are the hegemony," came the reply. "And we have been waiting a very long time to meet you." The hegemony ships that came to meet them were different from anything humans had seen before. They were sleek and dangerous looking, built for speed and combat. The aliens who contacted them were also different. They were direct and aggressive in their communication style. "The Council has been lying to you," said Commander Zax, the hegemony leader who spoke with the humans. "They have been lying to everyone. But we know the truth about what you are." Amy felt nervous but excited. "What do you mean?" "You are warriors," Zax said, "real warriors, not like the soft prey species that make up the Council. We have been fighting the Council for over a century, but we could never defeat them because we think like them. We need allies who think differently." Nate realized what Zax was suggesting. "You want our help in your war against the Council?" "We want to offer you a choice," Zax replied. "The Council has hidden your species because they fear you. They know that if humans learn the truth about the galaxy, everything will change. They are right to be afraid." Over the next several hours, the hegemony shared information that the Council had kept secret for centuries. The galaxy was much larger and more complex than humans had been told. There were thousands of species, advanced technologies that could reshape entire planets, and political conflicts that had been going on for longer than human civilization had existed. "The Council controls over 10,000 star systems," Zax explained. "They have cities that float in space powered by captured stars. They have knowledge that goes back 1,000,000 years. But they are weak." Amy asked the question that everyone was thinking. "Weak how?" "They have forgotten how to fight," Zax said. "Their entire civilization is based on avoiding conflict. When we attack their borders, they retreat. When we take their systems, they negotiate. They have superior technology, but they don't know how to use it for war." Dr. Foster realized the implications. "That's why they're afraid of humans. We know how to fight." "More than that," Zax continued. "Humans know how to win. We have studied your history through Council records. Your species has been in constant conflict for thousands of years. You have developed strategies and tactics that no one else in the galaxy understands." Nate felt uncomfortable with the direction of the conversation. "We didn't come here to start a war." "The war has already started," Zax said. "The Council started it when they decided to hide your existence. They made the choice to treat you as a threat rather than as equals. Now you must decide what to do about it." The hegemony showed the human crew more evidence of the Council's deception. They had detailed records of Council surveillance operations around Earth. They had intercepted communications between Council species discussing the human problem. Most disturbing, they had evidence that the Council was preparing for the possibility that humans might eventually discover the truth. "They have contingency plans," Zax explained. "If humans become too dangerous, they will take action to contain you permanently." Amy asked what that meant. The answer was worse than she had feared. "They will destroy your space colonies and force your species back to Earth," Zax said. "Then they will establish a permanent blockade around your solar system. They call it the final solution for the human problem." The human crew was shocked into silence. The aliens they had thought were friendly neighbors were actually planning to imprison their entire species. "But there is another option," Zax continued. "Join us. Help us defeat the Council. Together, we can create a new galactic order where strength matters more than age, where merit determines leadership, and where no species is hidden away because others fear them." Nate looked at his crew. They were explorers, not soldiers. But they were also humans, and humans did not accept being caged. "What would you need from us?" Nate asked. "Your knowledge," Zax replied. Your understanding of strategy and tactics, your ability to think in ways that our enemies cannot predict. In return, we will give you access to the real galaxy. All of it. Amy realized that this was the moment everything would change. The decision they made here would affect not just their crew, but all of humanity. The Council had tried to keep humans isolated and ignorant. Now humans had to choose between accepting that isolation or fighting for their place in the galaxy. We need to contact our leaders, Nate said. This is bigger than we can decide alone. Of course, Zax agreed. But remember, the Council is already watching you. They know you have discovered the truth. They are probably planning their response right now. As if to prove Zax's point, the ship's sensors detected new contacts approaching their position. The signatures matched Council ships, but there were many more of them than the humans had ever seen before. It looks like they're coming to us, Amy said quietly. The galaxy was about to discover what happened when humans were given a choice between submission and freedom. The Council had spent 2 centuries trying to avoid this moment. Now it was here, and there was no going back. The Council fleet arrived 3 hours later. 50 ships surrounded the human vessel and the hegemony station. The ships were beautiful and advanced, but they moved in careful, predictable patterns. Captain Nate Johnson watched them through his ship's sensors and realized something important. They're not positioning for attack, Nate said to his crew. They're positioning for negotiation. Dr. Amy Foster was monitoring the communication channels. Multiple alien voices were talking at once, all speaking different languages. The ship's computer was working hard to translate everything. The Council species are arguing among themselves, Amy reported. Some want to force us back to human space, others want to talk. They can't agree on what to do. Commander Zax from the hegemony spoke to the humans through their communication system. Do you see? This is what we mean about the Council. They cannot make quick decisions. They debate everything until it is too late to act. A new voice came over the communication system. It was different from the others, older and more formal. This is High Counselor Vren of the Galactic Council. We request immediate communication with the human vessel. Nate looked at his crew. This was the moment that would change everything. Put him through. The main screen showed an alien unlike any the humans had met before. Vren was tall and thin, with silver skin and large eyes. He wore robes that seemed to shimmer with their own light. Behind him, other council members sat in a circular chamber. Captain Johnson, Vren said, you have traveled beyond the boundaries established for your species. This violation of protocol must be addressed. Protocol? Nate asked. You mean the lies you told us about our place in the galaxy? Vren looked uncomfortable. The containment of your species was necessary for the safety and stability of galactic civilization. We have observed human behavior for centuries. You are a dangerous species. Amy stepped forward. Dangerous how? Because we explore? Because we ask questions? Because we don't accept being lied to? Because you change everything you touch, another council member said. This one looked like a large bird with blue feathers. Every simulation we have run shows the same result. Human influence destroys the peace we have built over 1 million years. Commander Zax's voice came through the communication system. Show them the war footage, Vren. Show them what happens when species follow human tactical advice. Vren looked even more uncomfortable. That information is classified. Not anymore, Zax said. Several new images appeared on the human ship's screen. They showed space battles between hegemony and council forces, but these battles looked different from earlier ones. The hegemony ships moved in unexpected patterns, used surprise attacks, and adapted quickly to changing situations. 6 months ago, human advisors began working with our military forces, Zax explained. The results speak for themselves. We have won more battles in 6 months than in the previous decade. Amy realized what this meant. There are already humans working with the hegemony? 3 human military officers volunteered to share their knowledge after learning the truth, Zax said. Colonel Tony Green, Major Sarah Walsh, and Commander Bill Hayes. They have revolutionized our understanding of strategic thinking. Hi. Counselor Vren looked angry. Those humans violated the containment protocols. Their actions have destabilized multiple sectors. Their actions have given us hope, Zax replied. For the first time in our history, the Council's dominance is being challenged. Nate understood the situation now. The Council was not just afraid of what humans might do in the future. They were afraid of what humans were already doing. Human knowledge was spreading through the galaxy and it was changing everything. What do you want from us? Nate asked the Council. Return to your designated space, Vren said. Accept the boundaries we have established. Continue your development under our guidance. In time, perhaps your species can be safely integrated into galactic society. In 1,000 years, maybe, the bird-like council member added. When you have learned to control your aggressive instincts. Amy felt anger rising in her chest. You want us to go back to being your secret prisoners. We want to prevent a galactic war, Vren said. Human influence is already causing conflicts across multiple sectors. Species that have been peaceful for centuries are learning human concepts of competition and territorial expansion. The old order is breaking down, Commander Zax laughed. The old order was built on fear and control. It was never going to last, forever. It has lasted for 1,000,000 years, Vren replied. It has brought peace and prosperity to thousands of species. It has brought stagnation, Zax said. No growth. No progress, no challenge, just endless committee meetings and bureaucratic rules. Nate realized that this argument was bigger than just humans. The galaxy was split between two different ideas about how civilization should work. The Council wanted stability and control. The hegemony wanted growth and change. What happens if we refuse to go back? Nate asked. Vren hesitated before answering. Then we will be forced to implement containment measures. You'll attack Earth, Amy said. We will prevent the spread of human influence, Vren corrected. Your colonies will be relocated. Your space travel will be restricted. Your species will be confined to your home system until you learn to coexist peacefully with galactic civilization. The threat was clear. Accept imprisonment or face the consequences. But Nate had learned something important from watching the Council fleet. Their ships were advanced, but they moved like the Council debated, slowly and predictably. They had superior technology, but they thought like prey animals. They avoided risk and preferred overwhelming force to clever tactics. You know what your real problem is, Nate said to the Council. You're afraid of the wrong thing. You think humans are dangerous because we fight. But fighting isn't what makes us dangerous. Then what does? Vren asked. We adapt, Amy said, understanding what Nate meant. You've spent 1,000,000 years building a perfect system, but humans specialize in breaking systems and building better ones. Zax spoke up again. The humans are right. Your entire civilization is based on avoiding change. But change is coming whether you want it or not. You can try to stop it or you can learn to benefit from it. High Counselor Vren looked around at the other council members. They were whispering among themselves in their various languages. Finally, Vren spoke again. The council will debate this matter. Until we reach a decision, all humans are ordered to remain in designated areas. And if we don't, Nate asked, then you will face the consequences. The communication ended. The council ships remained in position around the human vessel and the hegemony station. Both sides were waiting to see what would happen next. Amy looked at the tactical display. The Council had more ships and better technology, but they were spread out in a defensive formation that prioritized protection over attack. The hegemony ships were positioned for quick strikes and rapid movement. What do we do now? Amy asked. Nate smiled. It was the first time he had smiled since learning the truth about the galactic conspiracy. Now we do what humans do best, which is, we find a third option, Nate said. The Council wants us contained. The hegemony wants us as allies in their war. But maybe there's another way. Over the next several hours, word spread throughout human space about the confrontation at the hegemony station. Every human colony was watching to see what would happen. The choice they made here would determine humanity's future in the galaxy. But humans had never been good at accepting other people's choices for them. As Nate looked out at the alien fleet surrounding his ship, he realized that the Council had made a fundamental mistake. They had tried to control humans by limiting their options. The problem was that humans were very good at creating new options when they didn't like the ones they were given. The galaxy was about to learn that lesson the hard way. The truth about Earth's existence had spread, just as truth always does. And with that truth came the recognition that the old galactic order was ending. What would replace it was still unclear, but one thing was certain: humans would have a voice in deciding what came next. The stars had hidden humanity for long enough. Now it was time for humanity to take its place among them, not as prisoners or as conquerors, but as equals who refused to accept that things had to stay the way they had always been.